but it can buy me a boat. It can buy me a truck.
I'm Dr. Gina. This is America Trends. Back now with Foreign Policy Guru, Barry Nussbaum. Barry, I want you to be able to finish your statement because you said this was amazing to you. What Donald Trump said he would have done were he stuck on the tarmac and the Chinese refused to bring the stairs over for him to debark.
Right.
Yeah.
What Trump told Pence was, I would have done three things. I would have started up the engines. Mm-hmm. I would have told my pilot to inform the tower that we're requesting departure instructions. Mm-hmm. And I would have waited a couple minutes to see if the Chinese treated a fellow world leader like they should instead of disrespecting the office in the United States of America. And Pence had a big smile on his face and he said, you know what? They would have pushed the stairs the other 10 feet.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah, they will. You absolutely know it.
But it's such a message, Dr. G. This is the way the world thinks about us, the United States, mm-hmm. and thinks about our president, that the disrespect is all over the globe, most prominently actually in the Middle East, with Iran.
There's been a lot of fuss made, Barry, over Mr. Trump's comments. Actually, it's really more about Putin's comments that Mr. Trump was brilliant. And a lot of people said, well, okay, so he's friends with Putin, and so what would you do? Just go be friends with Putin? And Hillary's saying, oh, this is a mess. What's your take on that whole, I mean, if Putin thinks that Trump is brilliant, and Trump said, hey, you know, he's a good leader in his own country, we may not agree with the way he does business, but he's a good leader in his country. How does that work out long term?
I think Putin is no different than any other world leader that respects power. Mm-hmm. Trump is a powerful personality. He's a powerful leader, and he projects that power. The disrespect that the world heaps on Obama is simply because he's not respected, and so they treat him as a second-class leader. Mm-hmm. It's most prominent, actually, in the Middle East. Mike Pence talked about that today. $150 billion given to the leading thug dictatorship in the world that's responsible for killing more people than anybody. And what happens when they get the money? They treat us worse. Mm-hmm. They capture our sailors. They buzz our destroyers in the Gulf. And then they take more people hostage. So what do? We give them ransom. We give them secret money. And what do? They treat us worse and worse and worse. And every time they write about Obama, it's in the most disparaging terms. I think there's going to be a return to the Reagan days if Trump wins, mm-hmm. of it ain't going to be like that anymore. Yeah. And people like Putin, and he's the ex-leader of the secret police in Russia, will respect Trump. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it seems like the American military sure is favoring Trump by pretty much all accounts. Even the ones that usually say bad things about Trump are admitting that our military actually really does like him. All right, you had a private conversation with who you hope will be the vice president, of course, Mr. Pence, and you talked to him specifically about what would happen with Israel. I think this is one of the places where there's the greatest disparity between what Mr. Trump would do and between what Hillary Clinton would do.
Yeah, there's no question. I, as an American, have great concern for our closest ally in the Middle East being Israel, should there be a Hillary Clinton administration. Mm-hmm. You go back 30 years, her alliances, allegiances, and friendships with the rogue bad people mm-hmm. in the Middle East is astounding. The money the Clinton Foundation took, and apparently today still takes from rogue nations, is terrifying. And were a Trump administration to come in, I think Israel would be back to where they were before the Obama administration, knowing they stand with the United States, mm-hmm. and the United States stands with them. So I asked Mike Pence today, I said, I'm going to be on the show tonight. Is there a message you want the American people to hear about Trump-Pence administration in regards to the Middle East? And he said, yes, tell them one thing. Under our administration, we will stand with Israel forever. Use those exact words. And he shook my hand and he didn't let go. I really felt he gets how important it is. And it landed with me, Dr. G. Mm-hmm. There'll be a profound change. Right now, you could drive a truck between the administration in Jerusalem and the one in Washington.
Yeah.
The disrespect we have heaped on the leadership of Benjamin Netanyahu's administration is horrible.
Right.
And I think that would end on day one.
Yeah, and he's another one of those strong world leaders that you could, certainly see Mr. Trump getting along with very well, even though they're both very strong leaders. Because there's one thing about strong leaders, and that's that strong leaders understand other strong leaders, And I think that with Obama, you have such a bully on the playground mentality, where Mr. Putin or whomever thinks they can bully President Obama because they know he's going to lead from behind and because they know that he's going to apologize for the U.S. at every turn. And I just think that would be really different under this particular administration. Interesting insight. One other question I wanted to ask you was about his plan, Mr. Trump's plan. He said he wants to, within the first 30 days, have a plan submitted to him by the generals in the Pentagon and tell him, what is our plan to defeat ISIS? He wants to move forward with that within 30 days of becoming president. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton, still at this point, with the Clinton Foundation, taking money from foreign governments. I mean, this is a great contrast we can draw here. Oh,
foreign governments, not the least of which are the supporters of the origination of Al-Qaeda.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're just foreign governments.
Right.
That's where the bad guys come from.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I really like the thought of letting the military be run by the generals instead of the politicians.
Yeah.
Think about this. The fight against ISIS goes all the way back to those days when Barack Obama dismissed them like a fly and called them the JV. Mm-hmm. It was, besides being astoundingly an uninformed statement, it caused a policy to be implemented of, at best, containment. Mm-hmm. They're killing thousands and thousands of people, and there are millions of refugees because this administration, and I blame Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State because she was part and parcel of it, allowed this to continue. We can't name who our enemy is.
Right.
We have no words out of the White House. We will destroy them and everyone that works with them and everyone that supports them.
Yeah, they can take God off of everything in schools, public places, and so on, but we can't name the person that wants to kill Americans.
Right, and we talked about this on the break. In World War II, we said, here are the good guys, here are the bad guys, here's who we're going to go destroy.
Right.
You have to have a mentality that you are going to win. This isn't a game. This is the survival of Western civilization. Why do I say that? Because the other side has made it their goal to destroy Western civilization, supplant us and our government and our religions with a caliphate, or die trying. This candidate, the Trump administration, is going to have a we will kill them all and the war will be over. And he doesn't limit it to just ISIS, Dr. G. He's talking about radical Islamic terrorists.
Yeah.
And there's nobody in this administration that uses those words. Hillary Clinton said it once in disgust. Barack Obama refuses to say it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it seems to me like Mr. Trump wants to talk a lot about action. Hillary wants to talk about words. I heard her say again today that words matter. Words have ramifications. Not as much as actions, like risking our national security by compromising your server illegally, as she did, and then lying to cover it up again and again and again, as Mr. Assange pointed out last night on Sean Hannity's show. There's so much we could do on this, Barry. Thank you for being with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay with us.